Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Planning and Licensing, 15th of April. You're shooting through. Yeah, welcome. Right, so if we can start off with apologies. I had apologies from Francis, Councillor Williams.
That's exactly what I've got.
Yes. Okay, brilliant. Councillor Adlam normally comes in a little bit late, so any interest? Declare them as and when, if something suddenly pops up and you have an issue. Management issues, I've just spoken to. We have some members in the gallery today who will be speaking about their applications as we go through. Quick minutes. We've got the minutes here from April the 1st. That's very ill-planned, isn't it, having planning and licensing minutes from April the 1st, but does anybody have any issues with them? Because I'm happy to propose them. Seconder?
I'll second.
All those in favour? And abstaining because you weren't here? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I'll sign those later on. Matters arising from the minutes, anybody? No, awesome. Councillor Adams just coming in. Hello, do you want to grab your thing? There we go. Thank you. Right, so open session for electors. So we do have somebody in the gallery today. So they're actually going to be speaking for, that's application for PA26/01441. Would you like to come down and say your piece? Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Laura Henwood, as named on the planning application. Thank you for having me here this evening to talk. I'm here to support my application to redevelop part of my funeral home premises so that we can continue to continue to serve the community with dignity, care and inclusivity. Yeah, sorry, tuck my legs in. So following the closure of Newquay Hydrotherapy Charity, the building I inherited was no longer usable for any practical purpose. The charity was unable to restore the building as required under their lease, but I chose to waive that obligation in good faith. As a result, I've been left with a structure that cannot be adapted without significant intervention. Given its condition, demolition and rebuild is the most practical and financially viable way forward. This redevelopment is not just about a building, but it's about meeting real and growing needs within our community. This redevelopment also includes design for a service chapel, which will allow families to hold meaningful services before unattended cremations, which have become increasingly popular. Something I strongly believe will help with the rising issue of funeral poverty, while still giving people a dignified and proper farewell. It'll also provide space for services ahead of burials, particularly following the closure of Fair Park Cemetery Chapel, and will protect families from difficult weather conditions at an already challenging time. In addition, we're improving our mortuary facilities to better support the needs of the Islamic community. With the Fair Park Cemetery now being the only Islamic burial ground in this part of Cornwall, it's essential that we're able to provide appropriate and respectful care for those families. The proposal does include modest on-site accommodation for myself and my partner, Mike. This is not about a convenience, but more about responsibility, as our work requires us to work 24 hours and provide immediate response every day of the year. Living on site will allow us to provide that immediate care and maintain the highest of standards and include security for those entrusted to us. This is something that's become increasingly important following national concerns around mortuary practices recently. Like many small business owners, we work long and unpredictable hours, and this arrangement would allow us to continue delivering our level of service as our community has become to expect of us, whilst maintaining our own well-being and sustainability. As a young business owner, and everything I've built has been rooted in this community through trust, care and commitment, I'm hoping that we can respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, that's a lovely written piece. Don't want to wait, because people can ask questions. Councillor Kenny.
Hello, Laura. Not necessarily
a planning issue, but how does this relate to the establishment that was in Edgecombe Avenue?
So my mum and dad were the owners of that building. They've retired and sold that, and I've since bought the rear of that building to carry on running the funeral directors. So completely separate.
The Henwoods had completely moved to this spot.
Yeah.
I must say, I do regret losing the hydro, because they worked so hard for that hydrotherapy,
Yeah.
but, you know, it just never worked, unfortunately.
No, it was a shame.
Yes, I mean, I'll reiterate, I mean, there was a lot of campaign and community money raised, wasn't there, for the hydrotherapy pool? It was a big thing in the noughties, I think. Could be earlier, 90s.
Yeah, yeah. Barbara
And-
Kennedy's almost
Yeah.
all of her retirement work for it.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and it's just really sad that that's gone. But I mean, nice that it's got a new purpose, got a new function, you know, business and things. But yes, reiterating that loss. Has anybody else got any questions? For... Yeah.
Can you just tell us about the accommodation you're putting on? Is that going to be your permanent home, or just
Yes, yeah, that's my permanent
If you
home.
could just take us through what you're planning to do, because the actual, looking at the diagrams, it's a one-storey building.
Yes, yeah.
So are you round the back or what?
So towards the back
Yeah.
of the building. So in that new two-storey part of the building, which is what is the hydrotherapy at the moment, the flat accommodation is to the rear, so that we're not seen to be living there all the time. It's not something we would want people knocking on the door at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So we've located it to the rear.
It gives you a bit of privacy, is basically it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is very much a commercial area down there, so it's an interesting. There are people living there, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's just a real mixed economy.
Yeah. I mean, I completely get that. You know, if you're on call 24/7, you know, being there and being handy is really important, isn't it? And there's extra security value, because there have been national issues that have been raised recently, haven't there? Any other questions at the minute? Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
If you go and take a seat. Right, I propose that we move this up to the agenda now. Seconder, Sandy seconded. All those in favour? Yeah, that's everybody. Thank you. Louise, do you want to take us through the applications? So that's application for PA 26/01441. Thank you.
Sorry, if you don't mind bearing with me while I just get myself sorted.
For those of you who are wondering, Duncan is not here this evening, and Louise has stepped up to do the duties.
ENS. Wrong one. Okay. So if we just start with the location point there, that's what we're looking at. And then this is the building with the pin here, the blue building, is its current state. Location plan there, surrounded by red. So the application seeks full planning permission for renovation and reconfiguration of an existing funeral directors, together with the demolition of a redundant hydrotherapy business and construction of a replacement two-storey extension. So if you look at the existing site plan and then the, excuse me a moment, that is correct. Yeah. So existing and then proposed. So the comparison shows very minor footprint changes of the existing building. Just note the addition of the panels to the roof and some landscaping. The larger building will remain single storey, and the smaller building will benefit from an extension at the first floor level. This is a new first floor level and will serve as the accommodation. And if we look at
It's saying there are other two-storey buildings in that area, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Okay. Yeah.
So, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's behind? What's in the triangle down below south of it? What sort of building is that? I know that's Christopher's on top.
Down here.
Yes.
So
It's just a sort of.
the chapel.
That's not living
Yeah.
accommodation.
No. And then if you look, there's living accommodation just there though. as accommodation, so it is quite
And
close.
there is two-storey around is
Yeah.
what I mean. So this isn't setting any precedent to the local area at all, or?
No, there's a
Yeah,
Two-storey there.
bits all
yeah,
around.
Ace Engineering opposite, yeah.
Yeah,
And there's two-storey there.
Yeah,
okay, so if we just go back at the proposed plans. So the entire ground floor level will be given over to the operation of the funeral director's business and is designed to provide an improved funeral service facilities, which obviously we've heard about, and upgraded operational areas and reorganised waiting room and family spaces. And then you can see the additions there. So you've got your proposed south, oh, it's southeast there. And then the existing north-south, and then the proposed northwest. Would you like to see floor plans as well?
yeah, go on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just seeing how where the accommodation is in relation.
So existing and then proposed. So you've got the existing there with that being the hydrotherapy pool, and then the proposed.
So is the proposed accommodation going to be butting onto next to
Sorry, and the
the
proposed ground floor.
Christadelphian church? Is that the way it's orientated?
Say that again, sorry, with the...
Is the
back.
accommodation bit going to be, can you
With the
nod?
back, sorry,
Yes,
yes.
it is.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the
yes,
back,
we did,
sorry.
yes. So, yeah, okay. Is the accommodation two-storey? No,
No.
one storey.
No, so if you look, that's
So
the...
it's not going to be, and it's to the north of the church, so it's not going to be overshadowing the church with being
That's what
two-storey.
the
Yeah.
hydrotherapy pool is now, but what is
Yeah,
intending to be.
Yeah. So, thoughts, people? Does anyone? I mean, I think it's personally a very suitable adaptation for the site, and having modern funeral facility. I think it's a really good idea, an investment in the community, and by having the capability of coping with other faiths as well. I think that's really important. It was news to me. I didn't realise Fair Park was the only Islamic cemetery in Cornwall. So it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? And if you have the reputation for that, then brilliant. It's nice seeing all the photovoltaic cells and things on the roof. Karen?
Has there any objections been
No.
received at all?
No. Joanna?
Make a meal of this. I was just trying to find the relevant policy that would support this, because it is interesting because it is in a commercial area, but this is a typical, well, not a typical, it's a really high quality work-live establishment. Sadly, it's much needed, but
Yeah. I mean,
and I do regret the hydrotherapy, but I totally
Yes.
understand why it never took off.
Yeah.
I mean, it got killed by COVID in the end, really, didn't it?
yeah.
So I'm just I'm sure there's a policy we've got that would support this.
I mean, when you're looking for that, I think, we put it on list 2 because of it being with accommodation and commercial within an essentially commercial area, but there are other people living in the area as well. So, Joanna's still looking.
Yeah, well, we could, I mean, we've got lots of policies. We could go for the commercial development policy E5, where we are encouraging new commercial buildings.
Yeah.
And then you've got housing as well, because we talk, I think later on, when we talk about housing, we talk about mixed-use developments. It's along with the placement design, is a high quality and enhances the character of the area. This is not the most beautiful area in the world.
No, it's not, no.
Sorry, everybody.
The only issue is it seem to have 2 car parking spaces, which I presume one of the spaces would be made up from the vehicles that they've already got. So they're 3. I mean, there is, looking at it, there is room for further parking if needs be. I was just, but there is the new opened up car park literally just 100 yards up the road, isn't there? So
There's not a huge amount, I'd say, there now, really.
No, no. Mind you, look at the scale of the car, you'd get a row of cars in there.
You get all the three.
I think you get more than 3 in there. But they've got some green things. And I know it sounds a bit thing, if there could be some Swift boxes or bird boxes put on, that'd be quite nice as well for G2. So I'm going to, Karen?
Just wondered if there was any outside space for the living accommodation, for, you know,
Community space.
there's no sort of
So,
garden
what-
area. I don't know if that's...
I don't.
Good question.
There is a terrace, but not outside space as such. I mean, there's a terrace.
I think given the circumstances, we have plenty of flats in Newquay
yeah.
which don't, and you've got Trant's Gardens at the back, so.
I mean,
don't
it
think-
is supporting the business, isn't it?
Yeah,
Having
yes.
the accommodation
And I think
there,
these
so-
days, I think it's security, especially. Joe?
Yeah, I didn't look in the detail here, but do we have any details on what the parking surface is and whether it's permeable?
Yeah, if we could.
Not that I have not
Yeah,
come
okay.
across, no.
So if we could put forward recommendation from a permeable surface, please, and water. I think it's the classic G2 statement that Duncan produces. So things like water butts. It'd be great. I'm looking at that way. Dual water system, like for toilets and things. I don't know if you're aware, but we're going to the future with a huge water shortage. So by having water butts, you can still flush the loo. I quite heavily promote them. Right, okay, so I'm proposing to support.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yep. I should have actually asked Laura, but I forgot. It's really how the waste management is going to work, because you've got a commercial, presumably you will need a commercial waste contract for your commercial waste, and then you've got your household waste as well. So that will be a separate, is there room to put the dustbins and all the recycling stuff that we need?
Yeah, we're having nods. Yeah.
So there's plenty of room in that sort of courtyard effect.
Yeah. Courtyard, yeah.
One other quick question, sorry. Will there be 2 addresses on this premises, or is it just one? Because is the residential premises going to have a different address? Do we know? Maybe a nod from.
I don't think we don't know that. Looking at the faces behind you, they don't know that either. But that would be quite funny, wouldn't it, having electoral roll residences at a funeral parlour? So that might be an amusing point for the future, and we'll probably be up to. No. Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah. Oh. Right, I'm proposing support. Seconder? Yeah, all those in favour of support? Yeah, wonderful. Good luck. There we go. Yeah. I think the valuation office, won't they, when you get number, I suspect you will have in 2, because you'll be paying business rates for the business. This is what I have at home, and then you have separate domestic rates for the residential. So it will be two properties. Okay, but the evaluation office will no doubt sort that out. Brilliant. Unless you really, really want to stay for the meeting, you're free to depart. Oh, you're going to stay? Oh, right. Oh, go you. Gosh. You're actually going to come up with some complex objection, aren't you, for something else? We're going to go. Right, okay. Now, we have other members of the public here, which are going to be talking about application 5. Oh, yeah, right, okay. I propose we go back to the agenda. Seconded, all those in favour? Brilliant, okay. So going back to open session for the electors, we've got, application 5 PA 26/00806. And, oh gosh, is it on the top of my head? Is there 2 of? No. Are you talking about both, just the one, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, because it's just coincidence we have another one in Coleham Parish that's on our. It's up for us as well. Right, okay, so would you like to come, do you want to talk about it? I'm really, really sorry, it doesn't work that way. So if you want to talk about that, and then we can ask you questions, perhaps Louise can just put up the map on the overall plan on the screen. Then we can ask questions. Now, bear in mind, people, this is in Colan Parish, opposite Hendra.
Am I right in thinking this is the Treveth, part of the Treveth development, or was that the other one?
No, it's not. No,
Oh.
it's not Treveth. No.
Just appeared with the end with the thing right now. So is it on that round?
Isn't it where the Park and Ride is at the moment?
It's the next field over.
Rexfield over, yeah.
So it's parking out.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Have we got this as one of your?
Yeah, I mean, I only drafted that plan shortly before we came to the session here, so
Oh, okay.
I've not
So
emailed
it's
that
not
one.
one. So Louise won't have it. Okay. So which space is it, Louise? That width there. So it's on either side of the one. It is the Park and Ride, isn't it?
It's the fields to the east of the Park and Ride. So, but it is part of the same allocation as the Park and Ride site.
Okay.
So the Duchy own the Park and Ride land, and the land we're looking to bring forward is the three brown
okay.
fields
So
to the east.
it's just right. Yeah, it's just confusing where the road
Yeah.
was marked on that. Right. Okay. Go for it.
Okay, so this application seeks full planning permission for the erection of 162 dwellings on land at Hendra Newquay, forming part of the Cornwall Council DPD allocation NQM2. Together with associated infrastructure, including new vehicle access from the A392, internal roads, parking, drainage, landscaping, open space, play provision, biodiversity mitigation, and boundary treatments. This forms part of the eastern section of the wider allocation and represents a policy-supported residential development in a sustainable location on the edge of Newquay. The proposal has been informed by a significant amount of work and engagement prior to submission. It's been the subject of a formal pre-application inquiry, has undergone review through the design review panel process, and has also been informed with engagement with the Duchy as part of the wider allocation and with the adjoining promoters to the east, where connectivity between the sites has been an important consideration for all parties. The final design has therefore evolved through consultation, technical review, and design refinement. In support of the proposal, there are a number of public benefits. Most notably, the scheme would deliver 162 homes, including 48 affordable dwellings, equating to 30% affordable housing provision, which is the policy requirement for the area. The submitted affordable housing statement confirms that the development would comprise 114 open market dwellings, 48 affordable, and the affordable homes would be split 50-50, 50% being social rent and 50% being of an intermediate tenure, with a preference towards shared ownership. Whilst not a policy requirement for the scheme of this scale, the proposal also includes accessible and adaptable homes, including M43 wheelchair user dwellings. As part of the pre-application discussions, the affordable housing mix and tenure were agreed in advance with the Council's affordable housing officer. The site is well located in relation to Newquay and the existing services, benefiting from access to nearby bus services, the wider highway network, cycle routes, schools, shops and employment opportunities, and is well connected to the town and wider area. The proposal forms part of the wider strategic growth of Newquay and builds on the principles established through the adjoining Nansledden area. A further benefit is the provision of green infrastructure and open space. The green infrastructure statement confirms that the proposals include public open space, natural open space, provision, and integrated sustainable drainage features as part of the connected green and blue infrastructure network. The scheme would provide approximately 12,100 square metres of open space against an identified requirement of about 6,910 square metres, together with a locally equipped play area, biodiversity enhancement measures and tree planting. The scheme is intended to deliver more than 10% biodiversity net gain and policy-compliant tree canopy cover. In design terms, the proposal is presented as a high-quality residential scheme informed by local character, it was taken from around Newquay in the Nansledden area and the Cornwall Council Design Guide. The design and access statement identifies benefits including pedestrian and cycle-friendly layout, integrated play provision, landscape-led design, and an inclusive community with a range of market and affordable homes. I've provided some CGI images if they do wish to be shared. They weren't part of the formal application submission, but we have emailed them across if that helps. And overall, the application delivers clear benefits through the provision of market and affordable housing on an allocated site, together with open space, green infrastructure, and sustainable drainage, and the ecology benefits that we've mentioned. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. Can I just say something before Joanna leaps in? Oh, yeah, we can put that one back up. Can I just, so that's from the north looking south effectively, so up the hill, because we are on a hill there. I mean, concern, I don't know if you've been looking at the current drainage arrangements for Nance Leaden. Their drainage ponds are full and they can't cope with the winters that we're having. So I think you might need more than that, or it needs something more than that. But yeah. That was all I was going to say before. Yeah, go on.
Can I come back on that? Yes, so we have undertaken detailed ground investigation, including groundwater monitoring as well on the site over a 12-month period. So we have soakaways in all the gardens. So the drainage ponds are sized purely for the roads, and there's permeable paving on the lower parts of the site as well. But it has been done in accordance with the Cornwall Council's requirements, plus 50% climate change allowance as well. So and the form of drainage that's proposed is taken as the top of the hierarchy that Cornwall Council advocates. So it's entirely in accordance and as best as we could possibly make it from a planning perspective.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you. No, that's really informative. Joanna, do you want to go then, Namorna?
How does it, or does it, relate to the Nance Leaden development? So the bit that's adjacent to you is Duchy land, and eventually they're going to move the recycling centre there, and and possibly maybe a park or something down there. So this is a totally different development, but it's just, and it's been on the cards for years. So I'm delighted to see it. But is this a private enterprise, or how does it relate to Nance Leaden?
Yes, so it is a private enterprise. Richard and I, based out of Monkey Tree Holiday Park, so a local business. We brought forward the Trevemper scheme as well, so just putting it in context of other developments that we've carried out in the area. So not Trevithick Manor, the one on the opposite side of the road that Wayne Homes are building. So yeah, we're completely separate from the Duchy, but we have had quite a lot of engagement.
That's what we call the Walker development.
Yes, that's right.
Indeed, so
yeah, Richard Walker. Yeah. It is completely separate from the Duchy. However, we have had quite a lot of engagement with the Duchy. We probably would, in all honesty, have been in here 12 months before if it hadn't been for having to liaise with Suez and Cornwall Council about the Household Waste Recycling Centre. We have redesigned that part of the site, pulling development further away from the Household Waste Recycling Centre and forming almost like a bit of a crescent so that it actively fronts the development and provides a mitigation barrier to noise for when people are in their back gardens. So there has been quite a lot of consideration gone into that. We've also increased the sort of landscape buffers in between, albeit technically the Household Waste Recycling Centre should be mitigating their own noise. But we've gone a bit sort of above and beyond to protect the residents of this scheme and, make it as good as it can be.
You were almost you did anticipate what I was going to say next. So this is quite, I mean, as Sarah said, this is quite a sloping away from the road down. I'm not, so will the houses be at different levels? Is that how it's going to work?
So we have undertaken a full engineering exercise across the site as well. There is one small terrace of split level units, but everything else we've worked with the contours and sort of, in part, we've snaked the road down through a little bit to make sure that we're on a 1 in 12 gradient, which is the Cornwall adoptable standards for roads. So it has undergone a sort of full technical design review in that respect as well. So yeah, everything is everything about, I think it's about 6 units of split level. The rest are a standard 2-storey housing throughout the scheme.
Looking at the diagrams, effectively, they're going to have levels of houses because they're all stepping down.
Yes, they are stepping down the slope.
Effectively, you'll have the main road which wiggles a bit, And then presumably,
Yeah, as we come into the first field, you rise up through the first field slightly. You come to a high point, which we've created a bit of an opening, so you have a bit of a vista down through. Then, I doubt anyone's actually been on the site, given it's private land, but you get a really nice outlook. Well, I suppose as you do on the NSR, looking out beyond Trethera School, out over sort of Porth towards Watergate, it's quite a nice vista there. So we created an opening at that point to sort of capture some of those views as you get to the high point, and then we've naturally followed the ground back down, like I said, on the adoptable gradients that Cornwall Council will are happy to adopt.
my direct response to the request would be, can we have some nice normal names? Nothing to...
No
Nothing
problem
with
with that at
stuff
all.
I can't understand what they are.
So I'll just pick up on one point there. The reason that the scheme is called Polhendra is through the design review panel. They wanted a different identity to just Hendra. The fields, as per one of the tithe maps, I think it is, they were labelled Polhendra, so that's where we've sort of followed that theme. But yeah, happy to go with local names and so forth. And,
Birds or something like that.
yeah.
Yes, I mean, we've had quite a few major developments in Newquay over the last few years, and some are very aesthetically pleasing and others aren't so. Because this is on such a major sort of through route, are there any pictures of what the street view will look like,
It's not on the through route, Lamona, it's the next field over. It's next field over from, so it's effectively going to be a cul-de-sac, isn't it?
Right, okay.
It is, but then
Are there any sort of...
I'll tell you what.
I'm trying to see how you're looking right. How does it link into the road? There is a link.
So, where they're taken from is the small little house. That's the site access. That's partway through the site, looking through a such street which we're creating, and that's the centre where I was saying about the high points. So yeah, Louise, I think, is just bringing some of the images up now. So that's.
They're perusing that for those images a minute. Nick's before you, Karen. I have seen your hand up there. There's no PV on the roofs in your images.
Not on the images, but there are on other drawings. There's a
On the
roofscape.
plans?
There's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
roofscape plan which shows PV. It's air source heat pumps and PV to mitigate the electric there. Essentially, the scheme is carbon neutral.
Okay, oh, brilliant. Nick, what did you want to ask?
Mine is, I can't actually see, where is the actual entrance? Is it on the strategic route or is it on the main road?
No, it's on the A392 on the main road.
I'd just like to know about the relationship with South West Water and what's the position on sewerage for all these houses.
Can I answer that one? South West Water are obliged to provide water. They are not a consultant at the moment. It's a big thing nationally because the water companies are not there as consultants. They have to provide water. They do not have any say in it at all.
It was more concerning with the sewerage, really. There's 162 dwellings, and we can't cope at the moment.
I'm happy to come back on that. We have
Yeah.
engaged with South West Water. It was one of the first things we did actually to see, to make sure we could get a foul connection for the development. We do have to have a pumping station just because of the gradients of the land. You've got the railway line at the bottom, which is a constraint. The Duchy have constructed their own pumping station. They've recently undertaken their own works. That's what's been going on the land in between the NSR and our site. But we do have a point of a connection agreed and the capacity agreed with South West Water for taking the foul flows from the site.
I mean, before we get to Joe, I mean, the problem is it's not just water. It's doctors and schools and things that Newquay is just struggling, full stop. But we don't have a say in that at this level. And remember, it's in Cowan Parish as well. So we're just we're just consultants on this. So we have got a huge vision of that. Joe?
Yeah, so can you just take us through the access onto the actual, onto the estate itself? You're saying it's coming from the A392. My understanding about that section, I might be wrong, but I think that's a 40-mile-an-hour section at the moment. Is that right? Or-
It is 40 miles an hour at the moment. However, as part of the consultation process in doing the pre-app, the highway officer is looking to push the 30-mile-an-hour zone further out to the east. And I think, in actual fact, in due course, I suspect you'll have another application coming before you to the east again, which is a company called LVA, I think, are bringing it forward. And they've been advised to push the speed limit further out to the east again. So it'll be quite a way out from our site access.
All right, and just following on from that, if you're going to be coming into Newquay and turning right onto the estate, are you proposing to change the road layout so there'll be a protected zone to protect the right turners there?
Yes, we've designed a Ghost Island junction using part of the verge from the land which we're bringing forward to facilitate the widening of the road and a Ghost Island junction. So,
There's a lot of traffic in and out at that point, and presumably you'll be in touch with highways to
yes.
manage that.
It's all been modelled and everything like that, we've submitted the transport assessment to go with the application. But yes, we've included a Ghost Island junction to turn right into the site.
One more question while I'm in control of the microphone. The images that you just sent around, they're looking like it's very pedestrian friendly within the housing development. I'm just wondering what your plans are for parking for every house. Would it be parking at the back of the houses there, or?
So we've got a mixed. There is a parking plan which accompanies the application, but it's a mixture of on plot, side plot, in front of the plot, parking courts, the coach houses as well. So there is a mixed combination of everything. The difficulty with trying to do parking at the rear, like they've done a lot of at Nansleden, working with the levels and trying to create the flat plateaus, you end up creating a lot of retaining structures, and so it becomes overly oppressive with the retaining needed to create the parking courts in the rear, and then maintaining the access to the dwellings as well. So we have formed parking courts where we can, but it does become technically challenging in places as the gradients get quite steep.
Joanna?
So how many parking places per unit are you doing?
So it's predominantly two. But there are some one-bed properties which have one parking space. I'm 90% sure we've done two parking spaces for the two-bed properties as well. And I say that, it's the battle then with Cornwall Council and the Design Review Panel, because they're advocating less parking numbers, which I know is against what parishes don't, and town councils like to see, and which, from the selling perspective as well, buyers want two parking spaces because that's just a requirement of family living these days. So yes, so it's predominantly two parking and some visitor parking spaces as well.
You can always push them to go over and see Trevents and Meadows and just see what happens when you only have one parking place per building.
Can I say as well? Electric charging points, are those going in some places too?
Well, they're part of the building regs now. So where you have on-plot parking, you have to have EV charging alongside it and provision for where you don't have it. The only place where we can't do it is where parking is remote from the houses because of crossing over public highway spaces and things like that.
Before Karen, could we? Hopefully you're going to put Swift nest boxes, Swift holes like they have, because they're very successful in Nansleden, the sparrows, starlings, swifts, house martins are all nesting in there. So if they could, that would be great.
That's already within the ecology mitigation proposal. So we're including bat boxes, bird boxes and bee bricks.
Brilliant. Awesome. Sounds good. Karen?
I just wondered if of the 162 dwellings, are any going to be for rent, or is it all just to buy?
Clearly in the affordable element, there's social rented, so there's 24 social rented. With the open market, they are open market, and then the shared ownership would be typically a registered social landlord would take them on and then sell a share to an affordable buyer.
And is that fixed, or at a later date are you going to be asking to change those numbers?
We haven't changed them on Trevemper. We have no intention of changing them here. On Trevemper, we stuck to the same
48.
affordable percentage that we committed to, and that's notwithstanding the road costing, because we delivered the road infrastructure there, not Cornwall Council or anyone else. And yeah, so it cost an awful lot more than it should have, but we didn't come back asking for affordable numbers to be chipped or anything like that to pay for that road. We swallowed
It's just that in my experience, that's happened with other developers, and so...
Yeah, like I can only say where we
Yeah,
are, and like I
okay.
said, on Trevemper, costs were an awful lot more than what they should have been, but we didn't come back to the table asking for a reduction in the affordable.
Right, thank you.
My main concern on this is infrastructure again. Doctors, dentists and things like that were already stretched in Newquay and the Colon area. And I mean, is there any way of making it better, or can you?
I think it's like, it comes about on every scheme, doesn't it? Infrastructure and the requirements for doctors, dentists and so forth. Cornwall, the NHS have already commented. They're asking for a contribution, which naturally we'll agree to. We've done it on other schemes whereby we've advocated putting doctor surgeries in. We couldn't get the doctors there because they need a certain number of patients and so forth. A scheme of this scale certainly wouldn't. It's not of the right size to support that. But yeah, we can make a contribution which we're agreeable to. In accordance with the feedback we've had from NHS Cornwall.
I mean, for us, the developments in Colon Parish, and of course they don't contribute to the Newquay precept, so they're going to be using all of Newquay's facilities at a very discounted rate, which is not your issue. It is one of those things nationally with rural parishes and urban parishes and things. Joe, quickly,
very quickly. Am I right in thinking the three closest schools are Bishops, Nansledden and Newquay Primary?
Yeah, that would be right. I'm just trying to think.
I'm thinking primaries.
Oh, primary, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Tretheris will be the closest secondary.
Tretheris will be, yeah.
But those are the three schools that...
Yes, they'll be yes.
Yeah, okay.
There's nothing commercial in this. How do you envisage people doing their shopping? Are you going to come out and drive down to Morrison's or go into the new one at Tesco?
I was going to say, you've got the new Market Street coming forward at Nansledden as well, which there are connections through proposed as and when the Duchy land comes forward, part of the engagement with them.
That I think was going to be my next question. So you don't have to come back to the main road, there will be a link through? No,
we've created a pedestrian and cycle route through. Clearly, we can't have it from day one because the Duchy aren't coming forward, but when they come forward, they have given us the point of connection based on their proposals they're looking to bring forward. So yeah, we've created an east-west link with the land further to the east of us as well, so that should they be approved, their residents can come through our scheme and everyone then goes through the Duchy land, down the NSR and to Market Street, or carry on up towards Morrison's.
Really quickly, Nick.
So you're saying then that if they need the car, they have got to come out on the 392?
Sorry, could you say that again?
If they are going to use the car, they have to come out onto the 392?
Yes, that's correct.
So if you can discuss then PA application 5, PA 26 /00806, please. Thank you.
So obviously we are looking at the 3 brownfields here, which is the entrance right here. So this is the Newquay map showing the planned growth areas, and the development site that we're looking at, obviously, as we spoke about, is the NQ M2. This area was allocated for mixed use, which is housing and economic growth. So another just site location plan showing you there. It is a little bit small, so I do apologise. But this is showing the mixed use allocation. So this is what we're talking about today as a housing development, but then this is the economic growth side there. So the total dwellings, as we've said, is 162, private dwellings of 114 with affordable at 48.
Can I just ask on that map, this might just be a nod from the audience. Is there a connection between the road and what's going to be next door?
Pedestrian cycle.
Yes. Not vehicle, right, okay, thank you. Thank you, Louise, sorry, yeah.
Land ownership plan here again, sorry, it might look a little bit stay smaller. So the private individual ownership is the blue teal colour, and the affordable housing is the purpley pinky cerise colour. And then we have a visual impact assessment here. So we're showing 6 viewpoints that look towards the site. And as I click through, you will see what you've got currently and then what will be there. Again.
In the long term, it will be developed on either side rather than being sort of like an island of housing.
From another viewpoint.
At the moment.
On what it will look like. Again, number 3. There. And again there. And then lastly this image. And you can just see it there. And then we have some CGI views of the street scene and some other images of what it will look like. Mock-ups of houses, etc., and street scene. Extra details here, I've got that there will be 375 spaces and 455 cycle spaces.
What spaces?
455.
Good grief. That's
Very specific. 375 for cars.
more than one space per person. That's awesome. Wow. Gosh. Right.
That is everything I've got to show you today.
Okay. Right. Do we have more questions internally amongst ourselves? Joe?
So I'm thinking about pedestrians in and out of the estate and how that will probably require some safe crossing points, whether it be zebra crossings or anything like that. I understand it will be outside of the scope of this particular consideration, but I think we should be consulting with Highways about how to provide, for example, from Hendra to across the main road, and also on the NSR at various points, because I think you're probably going to need at least 2 pedestrian crossings into the commercial area.
So that's a really good point, and we can certainly put that down as a concern in terms of feedback to raise back, because you've got the one-way. You can't, coming out of Hendra, you can't turn right, you've got to go round the roundabout to turn right. And when there was issues with the park and ride, that was raised in terms of the bus stops and getting access to the bus stop, when the bus stop a couple of years ago didn't go to the park and ride, that they had to pick it up from Hendra. So definitely crossing, concerns about crossing, pedestrian crossings and access across that road, and with further development in the future. Again, remembering it's going to be Coleham Parish, so this should be really something that they hopefully will be raising too. Brilliant. Thank you, Joe. Joanna?
This shouldn't be Coleham Parish. Right. Yes, I'm looking at one of the diagrams that shows the lake at the bottom, because like you, I'm concerned about that water, but they have planned in it. Frankly, there's nothing we can do about this with the tilted, this has been on the cards for years. With the tilted balance, even if it was totally new, it would still be, rubber stamped through. I think it's a nice design. I think what they're doing is very nice. I am concerned, like Sandy, I'm concerned that we have no extra infrastructure to support it, but that's just not the planning law at the moment. I can see where they've put the sort of trees in to protect against the HMRC. Is that the right words? No, it isn't. Household waste, HWRC, the dump. So you can see where they've actually done that. I think we should support this, frankly. I'm going to propose we support with the concerns that we've raised to be covered in later on. What is this? Is it an outline or reserve matters or what?
No, I mean, we're voting on it.
Yeah, full.
Yeah, it's full. Yeah.
I propose we support.
So before we go into that, Joe, have you got a question or are you seconding?
I have got a question.
Right.
I may come around a second. Just another comment about the inadequate number of cycle spaces. I think there's an opportunity here for a kind of I don't know what you call it, but a place where you put your green bikes.
Yeah.
If we can somehow make a comment to the town or Cornwall Council about
The barrel bikes, you're on
the barrel
about
bikes.
having parking spaces.
Yeah.
I
Now,
think
it doesn't have to be
I'm-
in the estate, but if it
Yeah.
is close enough that people who live in there can think, oh, there's a barrel bike park just around the corner. I can do my cycling and then I can just drop it off and go.
Yeah.
So that I think
I
there's
think you
a
probably
great
need one at the
opportunity
top
to do
and one at the bottom of the hill if you've got cycle and
Well,
pedestrian access at the
yeah,
bottom.
I mean, let's give that some thought because there's an opportunity.
Yeah, so barrel bike spots. Karen?
Yeah, apologies if this is really late in the day for me saying this, because obviously I'm fairly new to this committee, but this land is obviously a greenfield land.
It's
And
already been designated
already
for
been
development.
designated.
Yeah, that was
So
done
there's
years and years
nothing
ago.
years
No,
ago.
No.
Right, okay.
No,
So I'm very late to the party.
No.
on that one.
no, yeah.
Um,
Long time ago, yeah.
So the other question I had, if there are any established trees in the area that are already there, can we try and not build around them, try and not chop them down?
It's only in hedgerows which we're retaining.
You're retaining those?
So the peripheral hedgerows will be staying, so I presume augmented with, the image suggests you're going to be augmented with tree planting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
I mean,
other-
for it to be carbon neutral, I think there'll be.
The other sort of keen thing that we've got is the park and ride is obviously not going to be there anymore. Is that going to be moved?
No,
on?
we don't know what's happening about that. That's the duchy sort of like thing as to in the future where
Right,
the park and ride will
okay.
be. That hasn't been negotiated or anything.
Because
Look,
parking is a huge problem in Newquay, as you probably
Yeah,
appreciate. So
Joanna? Go on.
It's going to say they are working at putting it somewhere else, but they haven't got agreement. Not everybody wants one. I was going to say something really intelligent, but I've forgotten what it is. So
Lamorna, do you want to fill the memory space?
I was actually going to pick up on Karen's point about this land has been allocated to development for at least 15 years, something like that. We are also going to get more development, because I went to some of the presentations, probably all the way up to Quintrell Downs. We are going to lose all those fields because they're all going
Yeah.
to go for development. But this one has been allocated for a long time. You can raise the question about the other ones when they come in, because it's a good question. But it won't, we've got nothing on this.
So where's this?
We don't have a green belt as such.
Just as a, is it going to be that where's the connection then that is going to separate Newquay from Quint, or is it just going to run straight in?
Well, no, I mean all cities and urban areas, after they've grown over the years, have enveloped the small villages around them. You know, London was very, very small, and you know, places like Hounslow and things were just being enveloped within London, within the Greater London. That, you know, I used to live in Shirley in Southampton. That used to be a separate village.
Can I just come in, because the part of the land that is in, it's nothing to do with this application, to say, but the part of the land that is adjacent to Quintrell, which is in our parish, we've actually said we don't want to develop that, we want to keep a separation. Unfortunately, Quintrell is in Colon, and Colon hasn't got a plan that says we want to keep this field green, separating us from Newquay. No. If we were doing it, we'd have banged in another green field between it. So, I don't know. I mean, it could very well up this road. It could
I don't think
totally go there.
The dairy farm at Chapel, I don't think that's designated to be, and that is Duchy, and he's very keen on, they're very keen on keeping the farms, aren't they? So I think there probably will be the dairy farm there. But I mean, he's an older resident. So, Lamorna, what would you like to ask?
Just very quickly, well, it's a comment really, that several houses in the new developments have got sand leaching through and making it really sort of...
No, that's at Trevenson.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
And I understand that it's because of the sand that they've used, the Callington sand, I think. I might be wrong on that, but just for a note for the developers to make sure that you don't use the sand that causes it to leach through.
Can we add to our comments?
Can I just say to that, it'd be really good to have coloured render rather than rendering and painting. Because, I mean, you look at the state of a lot of the houses in Nance Leaden, they're not in a good state at the moment, and the painting, they need painting, they've got algae growing on them, and they've been there for a very short time. So if it can be tinted render, that would be really good.
Anything that resists the weather. Can we add that we want to have materials that are resistant, including, according to our policy, whatever it is, which is based, because Trevenson Meadows, I'm sure you've seen it, is appalling. But we haven't seen similar problems yet on the Walkers development.
No, it hasn't been open that long, has it? But I mean, Nance Leaden, there's some properties which are in an appalling state with rotten timber and all sorts of things. Brilliant. Okay, so you, Joanna proposed a support, seconder for support, Sandy secondary report. All those favouring support? Not support? Abstention? And one abstention. All right. Thank you. You too are welcome to stay if you'd like to, or if you want to escape, please feel free. And look, we've finished the Henwoods off. They're off going. Yeah, my goodness me. Thank you. Good luck, guys. Cheers. Good evening. Right.
There's no more fun with
No, yeah. Licensing and planning. Yeah. Perhaps there's something key on the telly at 7. Right. Can we vote to go back to the agenda? I propose, seconded by Nick. All those in favour of going back to agenda? Yeah. Got everyone there. Brilliant. Okay. Where have we got to? Right. Any verbal questions that we've had in, Louise? From the open session for the electors?
No.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I sort of, when you went there, I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to have some biblical tomb that somebody's written for.
Can I just make a comment? It would have been so much better had they come and done a presentation beforehand. Because talk about 15 minutes public question.
Yeah.
So it really
but I
would
thought it
have
was
been-
important because of the size of development that, that happened really. I know, sorry Louise, we went over. Duncan's probably swizzing around like Chucky in his chair, isn't he? Sort of like, yeah. Little hissy fit. Sorry, Duncan. Right, active consultations.
No, we don't have any.
Yes, good. Right, 8. Decision. So this Feral Kitchens really a letter of. Oh God, what is there? A troop of skateboarders going past the window. Feral Kitchen. So this is a response. This isn't asking us to say anything about it. This is for information only, isn't it, Louise?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, purely for information.
I presume you've read said letter as to what happened about the Feral Kitchen and might have had a little chuckle. Let's hope that he hasn't got new plans for this year. But I think it's only fair that people that, have to pay for licenses and things, that he was asked to do this, so it was his decision not to go through the usual format with what he did last year. Right, okay. Previous planning applications.
Yep, so you've had a 5-day protocol, which was PA 2600877 13 Beale Road. 5 councillors responded to this 5-day protocol, all choosing to agree to disagree with the officer's recommendation to approve. So if you could just ratify that
so
one for me,
ratifying that, I
please.
proposed we did due process on that. Seconder? Yeah, all those that we did? Yeah, okay, brilliant, thank you.
And then we had a non-material amendment, PA 2602134, 7 The Watermark, Lusty Glaze Road. 8 councillors responded, with a majority choosing to object to that non-material amendment.
Yeah, so due process on that one, I propose, seconded by Nick, all those, that we did. Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that. I think that the problem that we have with it being in that coastal border area, that it's going to set up precedents and things, and that we can't support that. I know that Cornwall Council, might override it and things, and that is their decision to do, but we can't support something which is that we've got policy documents against. Right, okay. Then we've got, again, for information, I think the planning appeal for PA 25/08437 on our favourite friend, 1 King Edward Crescent. Yep. They're going for appeal because basically they're applying for the original size of the building that they started off with all those years ago. And Cornwall Council had turned it down, so they're appealing on that. And yes, please read, or hopefully you have read that.
So yeah, just a bit of information. So this will be the second planning appeal relating to this address. So in January this year, the committee objected to this application, which was to include an additional bedroom within the roof. The key concern at that point was the potential loss of light to number 1 King Edward Crescent and the oppressive, overbearing relationship with the near neighbour. That was our objection. Cornwall Council then refused the application in February. Reasons given include points we've made as well, reducing the outlook currently enjoyed by the neighbouring properties and harming the existence of the street scene. So this is purely whether you're happy with what you've already put in or whether you have anything further that you want the inspector to include.
I think from what we submitted and from what Cornwall Council will no doubt will be carrying forward, I think it's pretty comprehensive. Has anybody else come up with anything else they want to do? No? No? Oh, Joanna?
No, I wasn't going to suggest we said anything. I think it's interesting to read the statement of case, which they basically say we're just all being unreasonable and we want to build this and you're being unreasonable.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I think if somebody put in a planning application for a gibbet and we all thought it was unreasonable,
well, I think
then
what we said in the first place was it was too big for the space.
Yeah. Anyway, right, wonderful. On to planning applications. Right, so we've got some list 1 recommendations that we triaged. So if we can have a look at list 1. So the first one was application 2, which is PA 26/01146, 12 Crest Court. And this was purely the change of use of existing holiday apartment to an unrestricted C3 dwelling house for permanent occupation. There's no external alterations proposed at all. So we put no objection, but noting that it's a loss of a business and Joanna.
Just a point that the loads of them have gone over to residential. It was meant to be all holiday, but it's no reason why.
It's not a precedent in there. I do know. I can see with my periphery vision when your finger's in there. You don't have to wave it at me.
Sorry, that actually was when it was first built, that house, because I remember, because that actually used to be the flat that I used to live in. So it's definitely used to be full-time residential before it went to holiday. So yeah, I've got no objection to that.
So we propose no objection. So we put seconder. All those in favour? No objection? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And then application 3 was PA 26/01633, land south east of Trent Creek Lane, demolition of existing storage building and erection of building comprising of full scale commercial units for light industrial class and storage purposes. Now, not that long ago, we saw this. This is the back of Trent Creek allotments. And there was a house going to go up at the bottom. There was a house that was there that we didn't have any objections to. Are you able to put up the map, sort of like the site plan, location plan for it? Okay, no, that'll do. So in the past, a few weeks ago, we saw there was a housing application that was going in this bit here. So at the moment, this block here is a block of derelict, single-storey, a mess really, basically units. So they're looking to knock that down and replace it with, if you can put up just the proposed site plan elevations with something new and sparkly, still single story, in the same place with parking and things. And we thought really this is a real improvement to the site. It's giving that opportunity for small premises, for small businesses to operate out of. And this is, when it says light industrial, it is really, oh, what did we, Duncan did we read this, didn't we? What actually E3 and B8 are? Well, B8 storage, but. Yeah, can you just read out, just to give you, if that is a query?
Yeah, so we've got the town council is keen to encourage local business wherever possible. In this case, councillors were satisfied that the proposed use class EG3 would limit activity within the units to light industrial uses capable of operating within residential areas without causing detriment to amenity, and that it was noted that the location is within the existing built-up area that benefits from consent for mixed-use development. In line with the key neighbourhood plan policy G2E, the applicant is encouraged to explore any reasonable opportunities to incorporate high levels of environmental sustainability into the overall design, such as renewable energy sources, rainwater harvesting, and the addition of bee and bird boxes.
Brilliant. So, do you want to?
The most interesting thing about this one, totally agree with your decision, is when you look at the system design document, there's a map of what they think Chapel Gover is going to look like. Is it Chapel Gover? Chapel Gover. So that's actually quite interesting to see. But effectively, they're going to have this big housing development to the east.
Yeah, to the east. So on this side, there's going to be
just turning this little couple of units into a,
And I suspect in the future, because there is like a derelict barn, a two-storey structure to the south here, that I suspect we'll see in the future planning for that as well. So, oh gosh, I can't remember, what did we put? So I'm proposing support for this. Seconder, Sandy, all those in favour of supporting for this? Brilliant, thank you, Louise. Then we put on application 6. Is there an objection? No, there hasn't got an objection for 6, is there? PA 26/02055, 12 Chifton Close, two-storey rear extension. Now, our initial thing was, two-storey, but actually when we looked at it, again, we saw this one a long time ago when they wanted to convert their garage into a gym, like an office and a gym, and it's the road has that very characteristic row of garages going up it in the front garden. This is at the back. Can we say that just a proposed plan, and it's a little bit of infill. So what they're doing is infilling this piece here. So this is already the shape of their house. This is the little bit of infill that they're proposing, which will be two-storey. It's not overlooking anything. That's the neighbour there. It's not creating new views. There's no windows at the side. So that's why we put it onto list 1, which we wouldn't normally have for 2. So you're completely capable, I'm sure, of reading then sort of like how we thought we'd support this.
So it's the start of it, is it the Ganol?
Yes, so this side overlooks the Ganol effectively, yeah. Yeah. But it's got a big garden there. I mean, it's not overlooking by any neighbours. It's not creating any new views. It's literally just filling in a corner of their. Yeah, in the garden, and they've still got a big enough garden to cope with that loss of space. So we put then for supporting that. I'm happy to propose that. Second it. All those in favour of support. Brilliant. Thank you. That was all of those. Brilliant. Right, so then we go on to list 2. Okay, so starting off with application 1, PA 26/01925, 16 Praise Road, construction of first floor extensions and associated works. Now, if you look in your printout that we've had today, there's a whole plethora of objections that have come in for this. Whilst Louise is donging up the necessary gubbins, Praise Road is on a hill. I was going to say probably it's in two directions. It's running up and down, but one side of the road's higher than the other side, so as well. So I'm going to hand over to Louise in a minute.
Almost there, sorry.
It's okay. Happy chattering out. Sky's sort of blue still.
Right. Let's go back. So it's exactly where the red dot is there. That's the premises 16 Praise Road.
So can I just to clarify, so this is the island at the top. So coming for Benython Road, just down there. That's the island up on here. All of this is Praise Road. It's quite a long road really. So that one down there. So we've got there's lots of properties that have been changed over the last couple, 2 or 3 years.
That's it there as from the road on the street scene. Just make this a little bit bigger. There we go. That's the location plan. So you can see the boundary to the neighbours. And that's the proposed plan. So to take you back there, that's existing. And then you've got proposed.
So the footprint's not really changing much,
No,
is
not
it?
much of a change in the footprint, but clear changes to the roof, an additional of 4 gable-ended dormers. There we go again. So we've got existing elevations. Excuse me, just get rid of that one. And then the proposed. Again.
That's why we put it on list 2.
Yeah.
So everything is
It's single story with dormers.
that one's a bit bigger, but so on the other side of the road you've got big buildings, and on this side of the road.
It's just, if you look at this, so there's the property there. If you look at this property here, when I come to that in a moment, that one is like that, is it now? Just for information. So anyway, that's existing and what we've got to propose. So the changes are, it's an addition of the first floor, represents as quite an increase in the scale and mass. It's a creation of new first floor views, which is going to be looking out onto the neighbours either side, and currently their back gardens are not overlooked. And this, again, as we said before, this is some existing images. There are public objections. There were 7 objections that may have changed. Mainly, again, are the concerns are overlooking, loss of privacy, loss of natural light, development that would be odds against the street scene.
So the overlooking would be at the rear, would it?
So there we've got some photographs currently at the bottom of the picture, and then these were some photographs that were used to support the objection. And although it shows a larger property here next door, this was a development on Benython Road, and it was created in 2023, where the permission was very strict in regard to conditions imposed on north-facing windows to protect the privacy of number 16 Praise Road. There was quite strict permissions at that time about their windows to protect this property. And again, just looking at the floor plans, so you've got some proposed floor plans there. There is 2 sets of floor plans. One is alternative, and the only difference is there's a window here. So in this one, and in the alternative plans, there is none window. But we're not quite sure what the proposed plans are, but
I think that's the least of their concerns, isn't it, really?
That's the... It is staying as a 4-bed property. There is no increase in bedrooms. But obviously, the difference is the higher level, the top floor now being the main kitchen,
It's an
dining room.
inverse upside down house. Yeah, yeah.
It's 'cause the main habitable rooms are at the top now.
Okay, let's just put the elevation back up. I just want to hear the sound effect again, actually. There we go. Nick?
I don't think we're going to go. I don't think I'm going to go very far on this. I'm going to object to this straight away. It's upside down. It's an upside down house.
Well, no,
So
it's
it's going to have
not a
overlook.
criteria for objection, being an upside down.
It's not.
Plenty
No.
of people live
It's
there.
overlooking. It's overlooking of anything round it because normally we don't look at it if it's from bedroom having bedrooms up above.
Yeah.
But that it's upside. It's literally an upside down house. So everything.
Hang on, Joe. That is not a concern that it's an upside down house. It is becoming a house in an area of bungalows. That's a concern from the dormers. We've had this before. The red line is the outline of the current house. So I don't know if you've got an idea of the scale there, because it's quite small, how far you estimate that distance to be height increase. Oh, the scale was there on the plate at the bottom corner, but it's quite small. And over, yeah, there we go. So we need to estimate that. How many of those? Oh, stop it, Louise. No. It's, I've got glasses too. Right, okay. So that distance there, how many of those distances do you think? It's about 3 metres, isn't it? Yeah. 2 or 3 metres. So that is a huge increase. You know, when we see places that are just raising the roof like 40 centimetres, I think we can cope with. Joanna, you're going to put us out of a misery.
I'm going to say that I'm going to support Nick's objection. I'm just looking at the Newquay design guide. Porthvere was identified as a special area because of its bungalows and because of the way the lawns work and the sort of thing. So one of the comments that in the Newquay character plan, it says key design principles to adopt in the area. Replacement buildings within the internal streets of this area should retain the scale, building line and built form of the existing housing. This application does nothing.
No.
It doesn't retain the scale. It doesn't respect the building. Well, it does respect the building line. It certainly doesn't respect the built form of the existing area. Then it says retain the characters and layout of streets with grass verges and open areas, such as praise roads. Any conversion of front gardens. So effectively, this is a breach of the Newquay character study, and therefore you're getting D1, D2. Just about anything that refers to it.
Have you got that, Louise? As she's frantically scribbling away, Joanna.
Yeah, it's page 81, if that's any help with the character study.
There we go. And then Duncan can pick that up.
Yeah.
So we have a proposer and a seconder for objection then. All those, or do you want to question, Joe? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's pretty obvious that we are not entirely enthused about this. I just wonder if perhaps the comments that we make can go on themes, and the themes that you presented at the beginning, which were actually reflecting of the public objections, they were all pretty comprehensive. I mean, the theme that Joanna's just presented is one of street scene. I mean, I was going to raise that as a theme.
But it's increase of mass and all those
street
things.
scene overlooking increase of mass, but we could really go to town about why we don't like this. But I'm just wondering, we don't necessarily need a whole load of detail. We just need to get
that's why I was going to go for a vote.
About why we're going to decide what we're going to decide, robust enough to get it across the line, and then if in the future they decide to come back with altered plans, we can look at it again.
Yeah.
But I can't see a reason that we need to spend too much time.
No, absolutely not. And shadowing. Yeah. Light, reduction of noise levels to their neighbour to the north.
Sorry, loss of privacy, because if
they're
terraces, aren't they?
Yeah.
At those double doors at the top. So they're looking over.
Yeah,
all the
we've got. I
neighbouring
think we've got it. Yeah, we got all. I think we've got all of that. I think we've got all of that, haven't we, Louise? You've got a list. Yes. Okay. So objection. Yes. Brilliant. Okay. There we go. I think you have plenty there. Yeah. Nick proposed, Joanna seconded. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't normally just shout out. Right, we've done number 5. Okay, so application 7 then is also Cowland Parish. This is PA 26/01449. This is a reserved matters application for appearance, landscaping and layout and scale for the construction of 349 dwellings. So our previous 162 is the least of our worries. With associated works including access roads, drainage, following outline approval, PA 14/04743 from 2017. With variation of condition 1. So condition 1 is normally to do with, what's condition 1 normally to do with, Louis?
This is a reserved matters application, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got outline permission, it's just
Yeah.
coming to...
So land down at, it's Treverick Manor Farm down at Trevemper. Sorry, can you go back to the overhead shot again? So, where are they? So that's the roundabout opposite Morrison's. Morrison's in here. That's the one here. So this is the Goldings. So this is a bit out of date because most of this has been developed, hasn't it, already? So which bit are we looking at now?
I'll be able to highlight it in a minute.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
I'm just showing you the imagery now.
Right,
if you don't
okay.
Bear with me 1 second.
So this is Treveth. So Treveth is Cornwall Council's sort of like public housing arm.
Yeah.
They're builders, all right?
This is
So,
Pippin's area.
so obviously,
Pippin Road area, that's the new estate.
Yeah, we've done that. I was just explaining for Karen what, and Lamorna maybe, as to who Treveth are. So that's their focus. Right, okay, yeah.
So you've looked at this application at our last meeting, and obviously it does have the council's recall that it was resolved to seek further clarification with the case officer, which Duncan now has done. So I will just keep reading if that's okay. So the original permission date was approved in 2021. It gives you some consultees, the public, etc. And this is the area that you're looking at around here. This is the developed site immediately south of the A392. So 5 of the fields will form the housing development, these up here, and then 3 of them down here will remain the public open space. So this application only proposed to make changes to phase 4, which is being called Treverick Manor Park. And phase 4 is this section in yellow. So it only affects phase 4, and it's the yellow, and it comprises of 72 dwellings. So it's just this area that they're proposing to make the change. So the reason for this application is, the key reason for is the applicant wished to make changes to phase 4, mainly due to the topography of the site. So the area that accommodates phase 4 of the development slopes southwards, as you can see from the next image. And this is illustrated by the street view. Under the original plans, a significant number of the dwellings had to be sited so that they could cut across the slope, which would mean additional time and expense for the overall build. So the proposed changes to the layout of phase 4 allows the build to work with the contours of the site rather than against them, which shows this image here, it's slightly downward and shows the slope. So the key changes to phase 4 relate to various aspects of the dwelling houses. So when compared to the approved 2021 layout, the proposed 2026 layout shows the houses are no longer in square blocks, but in rows, which are generally orientated northwest to southeast.
So the right-hand one is the new one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the application also states that there will be a reduction in the amount of land taken up by highways. This is achieved by using more of a cul-de-sac layout or design. So there's no change to the amount of houses, it's just the design and the use of road. So the orientation of the dwelling houses. So changed layouts see that the square blocks of the houses with roads on all 4 sides will be replaced by longer rows of houses, all facing the same way. So if you look at the changed view of the following blocks, if you look here, so 20, 19, 21, 22, and the proposed 1 to 13 and plots 14 to 33. So the street view comparing to what it was as to what it will be. Although the greater spacing is actually where the road is, so it just means there's a reduction in road. There's no extra houses, there's no loss of space. It's just this is where roadways were, which they've now taken out. So again, comparing the roads, so again, the greater space is actually where the roads are, which have now been taken out. So these are the proposed street views to show off how they're the newer and more efficient, viable types of housing that they're building.
Yeah.
So the house types. The reasons that the house types have changed is the original application dates from 2020, and 6 years have gone since then. Treveth have refined and designed their houses to maximise efficiency and viability. So the proposed house types are what Treveth now have and now build, and they're used for a number of developments across the country. So this is now just some images of the different types of houses that will be on this particular development.
I think so. It's just changing design layout, I think, really. And if there is more efficient things, and it would be better to follow contours. Everything's, when you're on a slope, always following contours is always better. Nick, have you got? Because we did look at this last week.
I was only just going to say I like the look of that. I think it's better now than what it was before.
I don't think I haven't got a problem with it. Karen,
Is there 2 parking spaces per house still? Has that changed?
yeah, we just didn't we decide that last time?
There's no changes as far as I'm aware to
Yeah,
parking spaces or anything. It's purely just the.
we decide that. Yeah.
Is it 2 spaces per?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And there's no change to the affordable dwelling units
no.
at this time or anything like
No.
that.
So,
So the development has been designed to provide 2 off-street parking spaces per dwelling.
okay. So in terms of design and everything, because I mean they've already got their permission and everything, so it's pointless on doing that. I think the design layout is an improvement.
I like the final comment.
Oh,
We're negotiating on exactly how this is going to work. Yeah.
Exactly how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Which is what I asked actually on the last.
so
Yeah.
it's to approve the.
Greater minds can work on that one.
Yeah.
So I propose no objection really. I'm sort of like seconding. You're seconding, Nick.
Why not?
Well, because
We are not actually raising any problem to it.
Oh, we can. Okay, we can support.
Still with the second bit.
I think for it, it's sort of like because the houses and things. I mean, we haven't. They haven't got anything about the solar panels and stuff, so they're redesigning it, but they're not. I don't think putting all that sort of thing on because they've already got the permission on it.
We're looking to see more about solar panels.
Yeah, I mean, if you can mention our G2 stuff, but because the solar panels on new developments is only just really come in, and this isn't a new development, so that's why I was thinking of no objection rather than support, because I don't think it's ideal under what my thoughts would be. So
Can we request that they do have solar panels on?
that's not what the planning application is about. That's why we can make a comment. So it would be really nice if they were added, but we can't really stipulate that. And remember, it's in Coleham Parish as well. Joanna.
I would just say another reason for no objection is actually to say it's the comment from Miss Angrove, which is actually from
Yes.
Biffa, and she's saying what they're suggesting is large areas for waste. And
Yes. No.
don't do that.
No.
So effectively, I think we could support the Biffa comment.
Yes. Can you put that in terms of then for individual collection rather than community?
Yeah, because I mean, I
multiple
totally
property
agree.
collections.
Once you have a big shared space,
Yeah,
then you just get dumped with fly tipping.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're saying.
yeah. I mean, it works in Europe, we just don't have a history of it in the UK. Right, Nick, you're seconding me, weren't you? Right, seconded. All those in favour, no objection. Yeah, brilliant, thank you. Right, I'm sure you haven't been playing around with the terms of reference in your spare time, Louise.
No.
Louise, and you drinking your tea. Recommendations from working parties. We haven't had any working party meeting updates, have we? Oh, we did, didn't we? Parking and highway thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because the highways people have come back and they've got I think it's about 13, they got totally confused about what we were asking for.
Yes, ours was at the bottom of the pile, wasn't
We were at
it?
the bottom of the pile and said we were asking for something which we weren't.
No.
So we pointed out that that wasn't what we asked for. What we asked for was a speed limit, and if we couldn't have that, then we wanted them to look at the corner of the Mount Wise, the Mount Wise junction. So they have now put the Mount Wise junction on the list. What they are saying is that they have enough money in £87,000 to actually do everything that has been asked for. I find this very difficult to believe.
Yeah.
And I mean, particularly when we have two crossings there, which are incredibly expensive and very difficult. So they're blithely sort of saying, yeah, we've got enough money. And then they say, well, perhaps we haven't, we'll have to go into year 2, which is fine, because I think they should anyway.
Yeah.
But the optimism that they can cover everything that was on the original list, I think is highly optimistic.
Yeah.
But so they haven't actually included what we've asked for, but they have said that they will now look at that junction to see what we think the problem is and what the solution should be.
They okayed your proposal, though, didn't they, for Tower Road?
Well, they did and they didn't, because I wanted a crossing. And they're talking, and you quite correctly said there isn't room for an island. So I'm not exactly sure what they're suggesting. Whereas for Drew's crossing, there's already an island there. So again, I'm not sure what this. I think they need to go and look at these.
Yes, we need some. We're going to have some site visits, weren't we? I think we decided with Jack Thomas.
What will happen? What I think should happen is that we will use the whole 4 years probably in the schemes that we identify now.
Yeah.
Because it's not a lot of money, and this idea of trying to do it year by year is highly impractical. So that is quite hopeful, I think. Now they understand what it was we were after.
Yeah.
Derelict buildings. We haven't had a meeting recently, but the Sutherland is still a tremendous problem, and the fly tipping there is getting worse. Cornwall Council are arranging to use their own money, because it's private land, to properly fence it off. But we still have a problem with fly tipping there. And of course, as soon as you get fly tipping, it just gets bigger and bigger. So we need to take that one off and make sure that that is being progressed. Is this the point that we might talk about? For the Newquay neighbourhood plan, it looks like that what we will be doing, because it seems absolutely clear that even if the neighbourhood plans are going out of fashion, as somebody said the other day, so what they're talking about are far easier neighbourhood priority statements.
3.
They are introducing. They've had a trial, and they're supposed to be in the spring. They are going to be pushing everyone to neighbourhood priority statements. So I think that's probably what we will do. But related to it, can I talk about the cliffs now? Is that coming up later on?
I'd come up with that
If you're going to talk about the coastal management, is that where you're going with that?
Yes.
The coastal change management plan is on for the next meeting.
Yes, so I can just very briefly mention
So he'll be including that all on the next agenda.
There is some good news about setting up a coastal management plan, because the Environment Agency has found some money for us, and they're saying they're asking us next meeting to actually pass an application to say, is it all right for Newquay Town Council to accept money that we're going to apply for grants for? So I can't imagine us saying no. Andy Curtis has said that it is within the remit of this committee to make the decision to say, yes, please, we'll take the money.
So Newquay Town Council will become a partner with them. So what it is they've been working at Bude. This is the Environment Agency with Cornwall Council. They've been working at coastal management plan for Bude, but when they made the application for the money, they did mention Newquay as well, because we already have get this the right way around. We have a plan, but not a. We have an area, but we don't have a plan, whereas Bude have a plan, but don't have the area. And Newquay's been held up across the country for this. So there's some extra money. So hopefully then within this committee, next meeting, we can vote on that then to become a partnership with the Environment Agency on this project. And then they can apply for monies in the future that can then employ further people to work on the plan.
The end game is to get a plan.
The end game is for us to have a plan which then would go alongside our coastal management area.
So what happens,
Yes.
the plan will say what's going to happen when Whipsodary Cliffs and the road there falls in completely.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
are you planning to do?
Yeah.
What are you planning to do when the cliffs at Great Western fall with the commercial buildings on the top of the cliff there?
So what?
Personally, I would like to get hold of all the utilities and say, please don't. Our plan would be that they don't put water pipes along the top of the cliff. It may be too late.
So basically, the money they have got left over should cover the engineering reports, and then the future money then they can apply for, because we've got those, would then do the plan for Newquay. Yes, and then that can be used then in future planning in terms of how that coastal area can be managed in the future.
You may remember
And
a couple
what
of meetings ago, Duncan and I got an action point to write a begging letter to Cornwall Council saying we need a plan and we have no idea what we're doing. And we didn't actually send that letter because we had it all written, and then they came in and said, oh, by the way, we found some money and we're going to help you and we're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So I mean, so it's good news, but we need to go partnership agreements and that sort of thing in the future. Right, so we'll discuss that again then next meeting. Financial statement, you haven't been spending, or maybe some investment in some batteries in the clock would be.
That isn't up to planning to cover that
Isn't
cost,
it?
but
Isn't it?
I will find the batteries for you.
Yeah, that could be done. That'd be
No money been spent since the last.
Oh, we took it down because it stopped last meeting and it's still there at whatever it is, 8:10. No, it was on the wall, but it stopped, so we took it down. Right. Yeah. Other correspondence? Do we have a pile of other?
We do not, no.
Oh, yes, that's even better. Weekly decisions, I don't think there's anything particularly of note on that. And brilliant, date of next meeting is 29th of April. So I think that will make April what I call like a blue moon planning thing with three in the month. Those of you who don't know, a blue moon is when you have 2 full moons in a month. The second one is called a blue moon. There we go.
So can I just say,
Do you want to put your microphone on?
5 o'clock is the car park discussion about the care home that I was invited to, so I'm going to be here at 5.
Yeah, and that's confidential, yeah.
That's the presentation. Let's face it, it shouldn't be confidential.
Still
because it's already been raised in this meeting, and I was given an action point to talk to them.
I was just wanting
I think it's
confidential matter.
it's a presentation that is confidential.
Right, I'm going to be here, and I was just keen that.
Yeah, okay,
everybody's
no,
here.
so we need to stop discussing it.
All right.
Okay, so date of next meeting is Wednesday the 29th at 6 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, and any who happen to be watching, and Duncan doing his Chalky impression. Good evening, everyone. Bye.